Hi everyone. I wanted to give you a basic class tonight just to introduce you to this beautiful instrument called a djembe. So tonight I'm playing a very special drum from Senegal. This is dimba wood. It's a nice, heavy, strong, powerful sound and a powerful drum. And I personally really love the shape on this drum. This is kind of a special shape. You don't see djembes that often with this really, really super narrow, sexy. Ooh. This is why I love this particular drum, because the shape of it is just very feminine. What's more traditional, this is Senegal again. What's more traditional is this kind of a shape where it's a little more masculine. It's a little rounder here, a little fatter in the belly, and a little bit shorter and stockier. So if you were to put these drums next to each other, you can kind of see one of them is quite a bit taller than the other one. So the Senegal is about 2 inches taller than the this other small drum here from Ivory Coast. And then this is a beautiful Ghana drum. All of these drums have really different sounds, really different qualities. So it's really important when you're looking to purchase a drum that you think about your usage, what you need it for, what you want it for, what kind of sounds you like, and to play different drums from different parts of Africa to get different experiences of what you like. The Ghana drums, to me, they're the most boomy. They're the most kind of, because they're softer wood, they have a kind of a boomier bass, I find, than some of the hardwoods, which have a brassier sound, a stronger, kind of a more cutting sound. So you have to just play them, see what you love. I mean, I'm drawn to this particular shape. I have another drum that's this shape, and it's very gorgeous and very sexy. And I really, really like those kind of tall, elegant drums because they're just very rare. I don't see them very often. So that being said, I do always have drums available for my classes and for my students. So if you're interested, please talk to me. I can help you to pick one out and find you one that you're going to love. So tonight I want to just introduce you to the basics. I know that some of you haven't been able to make it to class because of COVID. We have concerns about being with groups, which I totally get and respect, but I wanted to just kind of give you something tonight to start working on in case you can make it to class, and then to just really start to play at home and develop your own connection with this instrument. My path with the drum has been very esoteric. I started drumming many, many years ago and fell in love with the community aspect of the drum, probably more than anything else. The musicality is a beautiful thing as well, but I really love that it brings people together to share, to connect, to have a good time, to dance and get a little funky. And I just love the expressive potential of what these instruments offer. So while I do teach rhythms and I do teach some of the traditional forms, I certainly am not an expert in all of the traditional rhythms. There are way too many for me to learn all of them. But I like to give you enough of a foundation in the basics and your technique and the things that are really important for you to become a better drummer, no matter which tradition you end up falling into, if you fall into one of those, that you have enough understanding of basic rhythmical principles, where the downbeat is, where the upbeat is, how to play counterparts, how to hold parts together to make the ensembles work. Just really basic principles of rhythm. And then I use the traditional rhythms, some of them, to create just frameworks so that you can find your own expression from there. Everything I've done with the drum has been very much about self-expression. It's been a really powerful tool for me. It's been a place of sanctuary when I'm really stressed, when I'm really frustrated, when I'm really happy, when I want to bring people together. This is where I come often to have my own experience as well as share it with others. So it's a great journey, and I'm really, really happy to welcome you into it if this is your first experience with the drum. Some of you out there in this group, I know you've been with me for many years, and I've drummed with you around the fire and spent hours and hours with some of you, and I miss you so much. I really do. I miss those fires, and I miss those circles. I cry. Okay, no tears. So basic principles to start off with. When you sit to drum, no matter which instrument, which kind of instrument you go for, and there are as many drums as there are countries, if not more. Most countries have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 different drums and rhythmical traditions. So it is a huge world to explore, really, truly. For these particular drums, you need to sit up nice and straight. Always keep your back a little bit off the chair. So having a stool or one of those drum thrones is great because it doesn't allow you to kind of slump. If you're in my classes, I won't let you sit like this. You have to sit up straight. Open your heart so that you can give and receive the energy of the drum. And also it just looks better and feels better, and it's really great for your core. So you can actually strengthen your core and your biceps and your triceps by drumming. Isn't that great? So, so basically I'm going to show you the bass, the tone, and the slap tonight, give you some technique. We're going to work on a couple rhythms, a couple exercises. And after this first class, this first introduction to the drum, you'll be ready to do some practice on your own and then decide if you want to go further. And I have lots of tools and resources available for you, as well as my classes. I have a world of connections in the rhythm world. So anything that you want to learn or specialize in, I probably have somebody that I can send you to if I can't help you. Okay, so basics. Drum surface is like your face, right? So you don't want to put cups, you know, pens, definitely not any food or liquid on the top of your drum. Don't let people set their, you know, their drinks on it at a party. Like, make sure that you take really good care of the surface of your drum. It's precious and it's a sacred thing. So really, and if you're going to play someone else's drum, always ask permission. It's just kind of rule of thumb for drummers, is you always want to ask and be respectful of someone else's instrument, because these do become very personal for us. As musicians and drummers, they become part of us, and if someone just picks it up and starts playing, a lot of times people can feel a little disrespected, and sometimes people will even get straight up angry. So always a good thing if you're in a circle or you're in a community event, or if you're in a traditional environment, if you're so lucky to get to experience that, really make sure that you check in and that you ask permission. It's just protocol and really respectful. So first sound that we're going to learn is the bass. So the bass is made by the whole hand is going to contact the drum, but the hand is just a little bit cupped. So there's just a tiny bit of space between the surface of the drum and your hand when you hit. And you want to hit kind of on the heel of the hand to get that nice fat bass sound. And I know you're not going to hear it come through on the recording, because these recordings just don't carry the bass frequency very well. But you always want to play just letting the hands fall and be very soft and relaxed about the arms. So don't be out here. You don't want to be, you know, here. You certainly like what I have, just really nice relaxed posture. The elbows are in, tucked into the body, but not squeezed, just relaxed and soft, right? So it's just up and down. And I always like to tell people with the djembe particularly, and different drums are different, that the surface of the drum, you want to think of it as almost being hot. So the second that you touch the drum, you want to bounce right off. And again, you're not pushing into the surface of the drum. You're pulling the sound off of the surface, right? So it's just a very nice, relaxed up and down movement, not dragging. You're not doing anything like this. It's just straight up, straight down, right? So that's the bass. And we often, with djembe, call these sounds goon with your right hand and doon with your left hand. Unless, of course, you're left-handed like me, and then it's the other way around. It's goon with your left and doon with your left, right? So goon is your lead hand, the G's are your lead hand, and the D's are your follow hand. So everyone usually has one hand that's more dominant when they drum. So if you're right-handed, it's goon and doon. So you can kind of say those sounds to yourself, and maybe you'll find your own language. You say, whatever it is, just to relate you to the sound of the bass, right? Okay, so that's the bass sound. The tone is made by the fleshy part of the fingers from the knuckles forward. And the fingers they're not pressed, you're not squeezing your hands together, you're not tense, you know, we always want to be relaxed when we drum. So your hands are just, your fingers are together. And they're not like this, because that's slap, they're together. And they're relaxed, they're not soft. You're not pressing them, you know, trying to, soft and relaxed, right? So the contact point is all the fleshy part of the fingers, so your whole finger wants to touch the drum, all four of them. But your thumb, no. So you want to hold your thumbs out of the way so they don't hit the rim of the drums. And that just starts to happen naturally with practice. But sometimes if you have a high rim on your drum, or it wasn't headed well, sometimes your thumbs can get beat up. So be very mindful of them and be careful. Okay, so that's tone, and the tone is go and go. Go and go. With your right hand, go, and with your left hand, do. So you have boon and go, boon and go. Boon and go, boon and go. Boon and go, boon and go. You didn't know you were going to learn a language tonight, did you? Boon and go, goon 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 and go. So if I say goon, goon, go, you know it's bass, bass, goon, doon, go, do, right? So just kind of starting to learn the language of the drum. And I have a great book that I'll make available to you. There'll be a download link here. You can purchase the book online, get a download immediately. It's 20 bucks. It's filled with lots of different rhythms. It'll teach you the language of the drum, has some notation here, some variations. It's all basic stuff, but it's a really great resource for beginners. So I'll make that available to you here in the link. Okay, so slap is the last of the 3 sounds that we're going to focus on for tonight's class. On the djembe, those are the primary sounds, the fundamentals, bass, tone, and slap. So the slap is made, take your left hand and put it right underneath where your right hand is going to hit the drum, right? So just make it a new rim of your drum, basically. And I want you to let your right hand just fall, right? So just let it fall, just let it be relaxed there. Don't try to force it, keep the fingers nice and open. And you'll see that you're hitting at a different point on your drum. You're hitting more on the fingertips. If you do that right, left hand on the side of the drum, and just let your right hand fall. Your fingers are nice and open. There's nothing really going on. You're just letting it fall, right? And you hear how that sound is bra, 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 or pa, 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 right? Because this is pa. So we have goon, go, and pa, doon, do, and ta. Ta, ta. Okay, so that's your slap. And obviously you don't play that way when you're playing, but this is just a practice to get you learning where to make contact with the drum so that you can feel the distinction in the tone and the slap. So the tone is all the fleshy part of the fingers and the slap is just the fingertips, okay? So slap takes a long time. Be patient with yourself. Let's try the left hand just a couple times. Right hand goes underneath and around the surface of the drum so that you make a new rim of the drum. So I'm not up here, I'm not doing things like this. It's all the way down. It's kind of a little uncomfortable. You're only doing it for a few moments. And then you just let that hand fall. You hear how brassy and strong that sound is. I'm not hitting the drum hard. I'm just letting gravity do the work. I'm not pushing, I'm not pressing. I'm not doing anything particularly special. I'm just letting my hand fall and hit the drum, right? So here's the difference. Listen, tone, slap, tone, slap. Okay, so the slap is pa and ta. So we have bass, bass, tone, tone, slap, slap, goon, doon, go, do, pa, ta. So tones are closed, slaps are open. Tone, slap, tone, slap, tone, slap. Okay? So let's try that. Goon, doon, go, do, pa, ta. First exercise. That's what you're going to learn tonight. A really simple bass, bass, tone, tone, slap, slap. This is in 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Goon, doon, go, do, pa, ta. Okay? Nice and slow. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Goon, doon, go, do, pa, ta. Goon, doon, go, do, pa, ta. Goon, doon, go, do, pa, ta. Yes, good. Go, do, pa, ta. Goon, doon, 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 go, do, pa, ta. One more time. Great. So we're going to do that same thing, but we're going to speed it up just a little bit. So what I want you to focus on for the first week or month or year is just really getting the distinction between your sounds. That's so important. It's just like when you learn a new language, right? If you are learning Spanish and you say hola, right? Then you want to say hola. When I get that relaxed feeling about it. So it's you learn the syllables and then you learn sentences. And well, first you learn the syllables and then you learn the words and then you learn the sentence, right? So that's how the drum is. You're going to learn the really basic parts of the sound, the quality of the sound that you're looking for, learning how to use your hands the proper way, learning how to make that connection between your brain and your hands. Eventually that becomes natural, but at the beginning, you know, you're gonna have to tell your hands a lot, like, hey, don't do that. So a lot of people, you'll be doing this, you know, and you'll be doing weird things, and you'll wanna go over here, or your hands will get lazy and stick on the drum and they'll drag, and that's normal. All that stuff is totally normal. So go easy on yourself and just keep being diligent about working on your technique. It's so important. I can't stress that enough. If you wanna become a real drummer, a good drummer, and really be able to speak and express yourself with the drum, you have to spend time on your technique. It's just critical because it doesn't just happen for most people. It's something you have to develop, and you have to train your brain, your hands, your body, your posture, learn, like, train your ears on how to hear those sounds. Okay, so we're gonna go boom, doom, go, do, pa, ta, boom, doom, go, do, pa, ta. And the other thing I can tell you is that it's super helpful if you say it, you can play it. So if you say boom, doom, go, do, pa, ta, boom, doom, go, do, pa, ta, boom, doom, go, do, pa, ta, then you're gonna have a much easier time playing the rhythm with yourself. So here we go. Boom, doom, go, do, pa, ta. Boom, doom, go, do, pa, ta. Boom, doom, go, do, pa, ta. That was your first exercise. So I recommend that you do that exercise every day for at least 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Just set a timer and just practice that to get your sounds. So when I first started learning to play, I would literally spend hours just working on my sounds. I would sit there and I would go tone, 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 slap. And I'm still not happy with my slap, by the way. So to me, I hear the inconsistency. I hear where it's not perfect, you know, and I want it to be perfect. But that's the way that you develop your sound, is you just practice tone, tone, tone. How can I make that tone a little more crisp? How can I make it a little more bright, but a little more smooth? Kind of like have that tone sound. How can I make that slap a little snappier so that I have that power behind it without hurting my hands, without, you know, damaging my hands, without hitting hard? How do I pull that sound out of the drum? Because everything in drumming is not about beating the drum. I hate that terminology. I absolutely hate it. You don't beat your drum. You play your drum. You play your drum. You love your drum. You beat your drum. Please don't beat your drum. Please. Your drum loves you. Doesn't want you to beat it. So please don't beat your drum. Okay, so I'm going to show you one more little rhythm here tonight to get you oriented with a really easy rhythm. that you can start to play with other people, right? So if you want to jam with your friends or you want to play something with somebody, it's a really simple handover pattern. It's just very easy. So whatever hand is your dominant hand, and I switch off a lot between right and left, but I'm actually predominantly left. So you can mirror this if you're right-handed from the video. So your right hand is just going to be taking a walk. It's just going to be holding the bass pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Da da ba da da ya da ya ga da ga da. And you can sing that with me. Ga cha ga cha ga cha ga cha ga cha ga cha. Okay, so that's all it's doing. It's just taking a walk. I call it taking a walk. You're just doing the same thing over and over. It's never changing. And in between those beats, you're going to stick your other hand. Woo, woo, but not signing. Woo. Okay? Hey, gonna get silly. Now you know what it's like to be in my class, right? This is really how it is to be in my class. Kind of silly. All right, so the walking hand is just taking a walk. So it's just never changing. So your other hand is just going in between. Now, if you want to change it up a little bit and just spice it up a little, you can add a slap on the second one, right? So boom, boom. Right now, maybe it's a little hard to do your slaps and it might frustrate you. So I recommend at the beginning, if you're just starting, play tones. You don't want to get frustrated at the beginning, right? You want to keep it nice and happy in the joy spot. So at the beginning, just use tones. Bass, tone, bass, tone, bass, tone, bass, tone, goon, do, goon, do, goon, do, goon, do, goon, do, goon, do. Remember, this is just your tempo. It just keeps going. Boom, ga, ba, goon, ba, ga, boom, ga, ba, dee, 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 ga, dee, da, dee, ga, boom, da, da, boom, ba, da, boom, ba, da, boom, right? So get that kind of groove into your head. There's so many millions of parts you can layer on top of this to make it really fun. But this is a really simple way for you just to have a groove. So if you're playing with somebody and you just play that. Right? So now if you want to spice it up and you want to add a little variation, there's lots and lots and lots of things you can do, but really simple variation. Right? So you add a second tone on the second round. So it goes bass, 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 right? Bass, 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 or boom, boom, ah. I hate those paws and tots sometimes. Goon, goon, goon. Yeah? great for your first class. That's a good amount of stuff to work with and to start just to kind of develop a little bit of your hand technique. So I really encourage you in the next few days, just start to really work on practicing just basic stuff like that. Base, tone, slap. You can come up with your own patterns, your own ways to practice. I'll also put in here, I have a 5-minute Djembe workout that I made during the beginning of COVID. I'm happy to share that with you guys. It's a free YouTube video, so I can put a link to that also here. And I will also put a link to be able to purchase this book, The Basics of the Djembe. And in addition to the basics of the Djembe, there's some really great ensemble parts back here, some different African ensemble parts with the doon parts and the bells. They're really, really simple, basic parts. It's not going super deep into all the crazy variations that are out there. And I also have a whole page on bell, clave, and foundational rhythms. So those are all just really helpful. They're great things to start you off on your drumming journey. As I said, I am by far the, I can play and I have a good time, but I don't know everything. There's so much to learn in this world, and I'm always learning and always wish that I had more time to just focus on learning. It would be so nice. But anyway, thanks so much for joining me today. You can stay queued in here in the event page. There's also a new group page that I made, so be sure to connect with that. And you can always follow me at Cheri Shanti on Facebook, The Breath of Cuba, and come to Cuba and you can learn some awesome Cuban rhythms. Keep posted also, I'm going to be sharing some rhythms, some classes from one of my beautiful teacher friends in Cuba, Oleander. He's got a little course that he put together for us, so I'll be sharing that soon. That's going to be something I'm going to ask you guys to please contribute and donate for the class, because that money goes straight to him. So I'm trying to do things that, will get those guys inspired during this COVID time to still keep teaching and find a way to be able to compensate them and help support them, because $20 for them is amazing. It can last them enough, it can give them enough food for 1 or 2 months. So I really encourage you. I also have a new program called the Cuban Pen Pal Project, and it's a really great way that you can connect with someone in Cuba. You can learn music, you can learn dance, you can just have a new friend in Cuba, so when you go, you'll have someone to connect with. So please request information about that, the Cuba Pen Pal Project. You can find it on thebreathofcubatravel.com underneath the blogs. There's a blog post there of the Cuba Pen Pal Project. It's a great way to connect with them and to support them through this time. So thanks so much. I hope you had a good time tonight and enjoyed the class. And I'll just leave you with a little groove. We can just play together. So I'm just going to hold something down and you just kind of play and enjoy yourself for the last few minutes of the class. All right, here we go. Thanks for joining me today. Love you guys.